So welcome everybody to the Segal Center here at the Patriots Center, CUNY. My name is Frank Hentschker and I'm the executive director of this center. The Segal Center bridges academia and professional theater, international and American theater here at the Patriots Center, CUNY. And we are close collaborators also with a Ph.D. program in theater here. And as part of our series of world theater, we are truly honored tonight to present you playwrights from Belgium, and also to celebrate our newest publication. We also are a small independent publisher. Our book, For Millennial Plays from Belgium, with our colleague, Professor David Villinger, who is the editor and translator. And we have the great pleasure to have with us tonight two of the four playwrights. And tonight we have Serge with us, and Pascal, maybe you could just stand up a little bit. So, you know, they really did fly in for tonight to be here with you, and this evening also will be live streamed and archived. And as always in the Segal Center, we have readings, a performative part of it, and then a discussion about it. So what you will be seeing tonight is an introduction from David Villinger, a little bit about the ideas for the book, the context, and perhaps a little bit about Belgium and where it falls into Europe, but also within the world, a culture, and about that strong tradition of theater they do have in that great country. Then there will be short excerpts from four of the plays, and they should be each about 7, 8, 9, 10 minutes. And then the playwrights and me and David, we will sit here and talk a little bit about the work, the ideas behind it, and then have a discussion with all of you. We welcome also Maria Frati here, and we also have the directors who directed the plays with us. This is maybe you raise your arms, and yeah, David also involved, yeah. So you will see, and also so to give a little bit of context, because they are excerpts. David Villinger will give you a little insight of the scene, what happened before, what will happen afterwards, and where the play really fits in. There will be a little reception in this very space after the evening. It shouldn't be longer than 80 minutes, 90 minutes, so you can still go out and perhaps have a dinner if you have to. So now it's the time to take out your cell phone. I'll do the same. Just see the sound off. I guess mine is. And so it never rings ever, and it's really true in our readings. One of the reasons is why we do this. But now it is really my great pleasure to welcome David Villinger, our colleague, translator, editor, professor of theater here at this Patriots Center and City College. And this is the second publication we collaborated on. So thank you again, and to David. Also welcome to Jean-Claude van Italy, a great
Jean-Claude van Italy has just walked in the room.
American playwright from Belgium. Origin, thank you.
Welcome. I hate using a microphone, but I'm told I have to, so I will, in this little space. It's so nice to see you and to share a little bit of my special hobby with you. My hobby is Belgium, and has been for a very long time. I started being interested in Belgium because that's always the question, why Belgium? And it started with an interest in a strange Belgian playwright called Michel de Gelderode. I don't know, has anyone heard of Michel de Gelderode? Yes? He was in the avant-garde in the 1950s. That is to say, he hit the American avant-garde in the 1950s and 60s and sort of got thrown in with Beckett and Ionesco. And so I discovered his work at a very early age and directed his plays. And then when I was going to school here, I wound up doing my dissertation on him, on Gelderode. And then my dear advisor, my doctoral advisor, Daniel Gerald, who was very intimately involved with this Martin E. Segal Theater Center later, sent me to Belgium on a fellowship, and ever since I have never stopped bringing back theater from Belgium, mostly for my own pleasure, I think. But it started in 1984 with another anthology, and I guess these are bookend anthologies of Belgian plays. From that time, when I went there, at that point, there was a group of really extraordinary writers who were unknown in America. And I thought, well, you know, I would love to translate their work and put it into a book, and that's what I did. And then, ever since then, I've found various other writers to get interested in, like Hugo Claus and all the surrealists and Dadaists of Belgium, and then all the way back, I kept going back to the symbolists of Belgium, and so on. And then I thought, well, let me come back to contemporary times, and that's why this is a bookend. And I started looking for plays I like from today. And this time I restricted myself to the French language side. Now, I know everyone here is very, very educated, but people do say to me all the time, so you speak Belgian? And oh, there's the Wallons, and then there are the French ones, the Flemish, is that the one? So I'll just say one thing about that to clarify. The Flemish speak Flemish, which is Dutch, the same as Dutch with a different accent. And the Wallons speak French. And in Brussels, it's bilingual, but predominantly French. So Wallonie is in the south and is French-speaking, and Brussels is mostly French-speaking, with a lot of North African languages mixed in now, and then Flanders is Flemish or Dutch-speaking. And I'm very, very connected to the Flemish side too, but this particular anthology is all French language into English. And so I just discovered, little by little, several plays I wanted to anthologize. I wanted to translate because I love them. And they're very different plays, each one very, very different from the other. And so I'll just give you a little précis of each one as we come up on it. So if there are no further questions, maybe the actors could come in. So there are 4 plays in all. And as Frank said, we're so lucky to have 2 of the playwrights here to defend their plays. And for the actors' information, we changed everything. You're sitting over here now, while your backs are turned. They're making an inconspicuous entrance. So the first play is written by my very good friend Serge Goriely. And like with 2 of the plays today, the first and the last, the middle 2 have been produced in distinguished productions at big theaters in Brussels. The first and the last have not been produced. And I think it's because they are really dangerous, subversive plays. And somehow I like those plays and pick them. And the first one, I guess it challenges a little bit Belgians' image of themselves. And their liberality and generosity and the way they welcome people from everywhere. That's their self-image, but it may or may not be true entirely. This is about a family, and a Belgian family lives in Brussels, and the son, who is a photojournalist, has gone to Africa and fallen in love with an African woman and brought her back and married her. And the family ostensibly has welcomed her with open arms, but somehow she falls mysteriously ill. And it seems to be in the play not such a mystery what's making her sick here in Brussels. I don't think it's the temperature, and I don't think it's the Belgian fries or the candy, the chocolate. But it's something that's in the dynamic between her and this family. So with no more ado, the Sorcerers.
I think it's so nice. All love is nice. It's not whether you're white or black that counts, but the fact that there's love. Yes, the fact that there's love.
Exactly. Love is not about color.
We can check and see how it's going.
Yes, I understand.
Nasaan yara naji? It's not what I eat. I know my body.
It's the nourishment, what you eat.
Yawa yana abu. I traveled before. Never any problem. Never with the food. Oh, yakasio. Oh. Ashi. Baka ganba tumakumara. Dudingatata. My whole body hurts. Not my stomach. My whole body hurts. My arms, my neck, my legs. Duganjaki. I don't eat with my legs.
It can go on like that for years. I'll say it again. It is now November. 6 months. 6 months isn't long enough. Your body's going to need time to get used to things. I'm telling you, it's not only the food, it's the air, the cold, it's November, the germs, all that is scientifically proven. It'll just have to take time, and going to the doctor is important. The doctor is important.
You don't believe. You don't believe in anything. But yes, I do believe.
Well, I believe in reason.
Oh, look at them.
Yin and yang.
They are so cute.
How times have changed.
When I was young.
Mixed marriages have become almost normal.
What country is she from, actually? Do you think she's running away from some war?
It's them! Sue! Kawabani!
And reason tells me to believe in a psychosomatic connection.
Babu! I'm not going to see your Raymond. Never again.
Everything is against me. That's it. The whole world is against me.
Your friend!
Even so, he could help you. He's a doctor, my friend.
Not Raymond. Not him. No doctor. No.
And anyway, it isn't true. Yeah, I'm not saying that there's no supernatural factor here. I believe in the supernatural. All I'm saying is we should take it one step at a time. Mustn't rush things and consider supernatural causes afterwards, after ruling out all the other hypotheses. If you'd at least take some anti-pain medication, good medicine. Anti-pain, good medicine. Take it, I'm telling you.
Sue! Them are too close to me.
They are too close.
How them are looking at me.
Them, always them.
Amika Shalani. Raymond is bad. You went to school with him? Nothing doing. He's bad. He looks at me. He touches me. Everything I have inside me. Inside. He's bad. Basim Tunana. Not because he's a doctor. You don't understand. Badang Kanani. Haba.
Good, bad, black, white. There's a lot more to life than you might imagine.
There's something in their mind. Something wrong. Don't you understand? They want me.
Want what? If my father takes your hand...
Very hard. He squeezes it. It's not normal. He squeezes my body, gives me kisses all over. I feel bad.
Excess of affection.
When your mother smiles at me, I see she wants to eat. Yes, I see it. She wants to eat me. Me! Your mother. I'm not her daughter. She can't say I'm her daughter.
Always show respect for older people, Luke, and especially towards parents. They gave you life. You have to learn how to forgive.
What?
Nothing. Better not say any more.
Say. Talk. You're hiding. Speak.
You are extreme. Too extreme.
What?
My mother. A retired English teacher turning into a harpy? An old cannibalistic sorcerer? And my father. How do you see him? A rapist? And my best friend. Someone who casts spells and lusts after you to boot? That is what I mean by extreme. Your point of view is too extreme. How do you want me to speak? I can't tell you anything. Talking to you is impossible.
What?
Paula.
You don't feel anything? You don't feel anything in your body? It's against you too. I know you. If you're suffering, it's because of them. Yama!
Is something wrong?
Yama! Bro!
I'm taking you to see Raymond. It might not be the digestion, but one thing is for sure, it's the nerves.
I'm not crazy!
Even so, you're hallucinating about your brother.
I'm not crazy!
You're suffering. It's not madness, but suffering. So get dressed and...
My parents didn't understand. I know they didn't understand. My brother is dead. I knew the two businessmen. I knew who they were. I still know now. Who listens to a little girl? I was very little. Parents don't listen to little girls. Ruthie! They believed my brother. My brother is big, the biggest of all my brothers. Shut up, shut up! I'm not a little girl anymore. Shut up, shut up! Luke, do you hear me? You want me to eat? You want me to eat like my brother? My brother died after. I yell, don't go, brother! Don't go! No one listens. You don't listen either. I know that he's not coming back, and for days on end, he doesn't come back. I hear him. Paula! Paula! Yama! Yama, help me! He's lying there under the house. I know. His arms, his back, his mouth. The blood's coming out. He has his body under the house. Yama! Yama! I'm there with ropes tied under my bed. I have fever. It hurts. My parent thinks, oh, Paul is crazy. I yell, Tafakitan! Go quickly! Go to the house! My brother is dying. I see him. Tafakitan! No one does something. They think I'm crazy and that everything's all right. My mother gives me water, but I see it. My brother's dying. And later, my parents see that I'm right. You think I'm crazy, Luke? I see him under the house. He yells, I yelled for days. Days he yells, lying there under the house. I yell, I'm not crazy. I have lots of fever. Rua! Rua! White spots appear. White circles appear. Water! I can't breathe.
Paula, get a grip on yourself. Paula, do you want some water? Paula, I'm here with you.
Who knows, it might last.
Make the most of it while you're still young.
I devoutly wish they do, and that it enriches both of their lives.
Always love each other. Always.
In the future, all we'll see is a mixing of the races.
That's what I hear.
We wish you every happiness in the world.
Nothing can stand in the way of my happiness for them.
That's nice.
If it works out.
Love will find a way.
May it last forever.
Well, seeing that performance makes me feel very, very happy that I undertook the translation because it's really so powerful, isn't it? The next play is the kind of play Mario Frati hates. It's called Patriots Cafe by Jean-Marie Piem, who is not with us today. And it's a political play. It's about the far right in the French-speaking part of Belgium. Now, I don't know if you've been following the news, but when I go to Belgium, it's really very scary right now in Flanders, in the north. The mayor of Antwerp is now very, very extreme right. They have these candlelit parades to xenophobia, chase out the foreigners and all that, and it's the cultural budgets being cut like crazy, and it really feels like Kristallnacht. So who knows what's going to happen? I guess it's all over Europe now, but not in the French-speaking part of Belgium, which has a very strong socialist tradition because of the mines and the metalworking in the south. And yet, even there, they have some small faction of far right, which could really get bigger, spontaneously. I mean, my Belgian friends will talk about it later if they care to. But this play is about such a faction, a small lunatic fringe, and how it cropped up in the south of Belgium. And it's a very local play, and it's about very specific people and how they get attracted to this political tendency. And the hero of the play, we're not going to see him tonight, he's the owner of a cafe, a very charming man, big-spirited man, very amiable and likable guy. And he is courted by the far right, and he runs as a candidate as a representative, and he wins. And the people who you're going to see two short scenes, are the people around him. A woman who works for him in the bar, and then some others. But PM shows a panorama of different kinds of people and how they get drawn into this political tendency. And here we have it.
Want. I told you never to set foot in here.
Come over here. Carmen, you don't love me anymore. Is that what you're trying to tell me?
It's not true.
You don't love me.
I do too.
Look, when love is over, it's better for all concerned to come out and admit that it's over.
I don't got nothing. You can't love somebody when you don't got nothing. I'm one step above a bad lady. Do you know what a bad lady is? She ain't a queen, that's for sure. People just barely graze their hands over her pussy real careful. And they forget she exists very, very, very fast.
I want you.
And how am I supposed to pay the rent?
The rent? Why do you talk to me about rent? Or let's drink to a second-rate life. That's what you really mean. I don't want to live my life like this anymore, Carmen. It's not about this.
Yeah, well, in the meantime, a fistful of bills in between your thighs feels a hell of a lot better than getting your neck sliced off by the Grim's Reaper scythe, if you see what I mean.
Look, I come from good stock. Okay? I don't want it to be about the shopping cart piled with food for the weekend. Or a shiny Mercedes. Or the hand you can never get clean. I don't want it to live my life as a mouth scarfing stuff down. There are so many things to accomplish in life, Carmen. Doing something big. Becoming somebody. Shining down through the memory of time. Doesn't that count for anything? Look, otherwise, look, I have all that in me. I can feel it. Otherwise, I might as well just jump into the ocean. Look, I'm 20 years old. And I despise mediocrity. Mediocrity gives me the creeps.
Those words come shooting out of your mouth and they go off around my head like fireworks. And then after, everything's the same as before.
Would you like me to be nothing?
I've had it up to here with your bullshit. I've got holes in my sweater. My bra's all pulled out of shape, and every day I bathe in the same damn ooze. seen my mother? You get old real quick when all you've got is nothing. And you turn bad. Real bad. She was beautiful, my mother, in the old days. Alive, happy.
Carmen, stay with me.
Desire is just an animal.
Carmen.
I love you, Julian. And it's gonna hurt a lot, but there's nothing we can do about it. We've been forced into this position, and just once in my life, I'd like to prance around in a white horse, and why shouldn't I have the right?
Without you there, what'll become of me? Okay, I go kaboom into 1,000 pieces. I shrivel up.
Get the hell out of here, Queen. You think it's so easy? Get the hell out of here. Move it!
You usually imagine you see the most basic things, but in reality, you can't see them at all. There are thousands of things all around us that go to prove it. Obviously, you've got to live according to the rules. 1, never talk politics. 2, don't talk about what I do or what you do. 3, avoid all subjects that are too private. Oh, well, that reminds me. I have a message for you. Ph.D. stopped by. He said he wants to get back together with you.
No.
He's your husband.
He's an asshole.
You put horns on your husband. You erased your father from memory, and your mother, her you shoved right out of your life.
I do my best.
Oh, what a mouth on her. And that mouth smeared with all that lipstick. With that damp body of yours, you spark desire in men's bellies. All men. I've got to put up with your posting free to bet stickers everywhere. And with the fact that the ozone layer is more important to you than your own mother. Or that you throw your life away going to meetings to explain why the world has to be chopped in two. But when you start opening your mouth about my friends, that is where I draw the line. Willie isn't who you say he is. Well, among the Flemish, yes. I'm sure there are people like that. Racists. But not here, in this part of the country. Willie is always good to whoever deserves it. And even those who deserve it, he yells at. When Willie talks, I listen. He says that there are too many foreigners here, and I can understand what he's talking about. That's not racism. It's about labor.
What I neglected to do earlier was to thank Jennifer Tuttle for the first scene from The Sorcerers. It was a brilliant staging. And to thank Marvin Tran for the one we just saw. The next play is not at all political. It's a little play about love. And it's about a woman who wants to have her cake and eat it too. Her name is Marie Antoinette.
Yeah.
and she has 2 boyfriends at the same time, and to the one calls her Marie and thinks her name is Marie, and the other calls her Antoinette and thinks her name is Antoinette. And she's okay with this arrangement. The one boyfriend lives in the country, the other lives in the city. So they presumably would never find out each other's existence. And she has her life programmed down to the minute so that neither of the 2 guys suspects. And of course, the trouble starts when they both start to take up water polo at the same pool. And little by little discover that they're both in love. Well, never mind, I won't say that. In any case, it's a charming play by Jacques de Decker, and here are 2 little scenes at different points in the evolution of Marie Antoinette's life with one of the 2 boyfriends.
One evening in Adrian's house.
Say, Adrian,
Yeah?
do I bore you?
Why would you think you bore me, my darling? It's just that if you'd given me a heads up, I'd have told you not to come this evening. I have this plan I've got to get done ASAP, and it must look like I'm neglecting you. I'm delighted you're here beside me while I work, but you must excuse me if I don't raise my head. You know how these companies are. You don't hear a peep out of them for 2 years, then all of a sudden they snap to, and it's urgent, needed immediately, because the board of some agencies got to have it in 5 minutes. Long story short, I'm stressed.
What is this plan?
A public park in the city. It's a big break for my career.
Oh, so now you're talking in terms of your career.
A chance like this doesn't turn up twice, and I'm loaded with ideas for it.
Is it in the center of town?
No, just outside. But I know the neighborhood really well, right next to the swimming pool.
What swimming pool?
The one where I go to play water polo when the weather improves. Open air, of course. I can't stand indoor pools. And the only club where they play open air water polo is right there, close by. I've passed by the property a million times. Used to be private, but the city agency bought it up, so they're constructing a park there. I'm sure I'll get the commission. I know the site like the back of my hand. I don't care for this kind of competition, but in this case, I must get the idea that it's all laid out with my name on it. Do you see what I mean, Marie? Honest, if you called me, I would have told you the whole thing. The last thing I'd want to do is neglect a visitor, but...
A visitor? What do you mean by that? So now I'm just a visitor?
Naturally, as long as you don't live here, I'm bound to see it from that angle. It's always like a party when you show up. I prepare for hours in advance, but this time, nothing. I haven't even done any shopping. We'll have to make do with whatever leftovers we can scrounge in the fridge. I swear to you, my head is spinning.
No problem. It happens. Adrian, tell me, that water polo club of yours, is it co-ed?
Co-ed? Don't make me laugh. You know what a football game is like? Well, it's the same thing except that it's played in water.
So, don't women know how to swim? Don't they know how to play with a ball?
Shall I draw you a sketch?
No. No sketches needed anyway. You'd use up all your crayons. I get the idea. I get it.
You're not going to sulk just because the club doesn't accept women, are you?
That's just the way it is. It's been going on for thousands of years anyway.
Water polo was invented in 1800. I don't know the exact date.
No worries, I'm just pulling your leg, Adrian. You live out here in the open air. You're bursting with good health. You're getting away from all the stress. And you go into town to keep up your fitness routine. It's all a little topsy-turvy, isn't it?
Does my doing water polo bother you?
No, it's a hoot. I can just see you wearing your little cap, throwing your little ball with your little friends. You're such adolescents.
Who, us?
Men, or rather those who claim to be.
What did you eat today?
A salad. And that at least was co-ed. I mean, mixed.
Marie, I beg you, I have to hand in this project first thing tomorrow morning. I have no choice, it's just the way it is.
So work. Don't pay any attention to me. Just act as if I wasn't even here.
It's not exactly easy to act like you're not here, believe me.
Do you want me to go?
No, absolutely not. Let it never be said that I let you take off on an evening when you came to see me. I could never forgive myself.
Basically, what is needed here is a stand-in. When you're too busy, I'd have some company and you'd get some peace. Did you hear what I just said?
No. I had a bad glitch there. I wasn't really listening. I'm sorry.
I was saying there needs to be another man in my life to replace you when you're not available. That way everyone will be happy. Sort of body double. You must have that in water polo, like a pitch hitter.
No, Marie, I would never put up with anything like that.
Oh, because I'm your property. Is that how you see
No,
it?
not at all. That has nothing to do with it. It's just that when you're as close as we are, it's hard to share. If you share, then you lose the sense of the whole.
Explain.
Yeah, if I had the time, I would. I'd really like to clarify my thinking on the subject, but frankly, it's all pretty complicated. I just don't feel it's right. I simply don't feel it, all right, and that's that.
Adrian, my darling, I feel I just made the sky fall down on your head.
No, not at all. I've just never been able to multitask. So to design my park and to hold forth on a double life, I'm afraid it's quite beyond me.
All I can tell is that you are against it.
Against what?
The idea of having a stand-in.
I just have to think about it, okay? As far as I can think about it at all, it's like I get a lump. Come and feel right there. No, that's not right. I'm sorry.
How could you possibly have a double in any case, Adrian, darling? You're unique. That's why I love you. Listen, what I'm going to do is go and say hi to my grandmother. In any case, you're not going to get unstuck from this table all night. That's obvious.
How's your grandmother doing, anyway? Has she got back from the hospital?
It was only a little fibroid tumor.
A fibroid? You said it was her appendix. And that did surprise me at her age.
Yes, of course. And what was I thinking? Her appendix. I've got a little surprise for her. She'll be so happy about it.
You mean having you turn up like that right out of the blue?
No, to bring her back her magnolia. Late afternoon in Adrian's house.
I'm the noble savage.
When you think about it, yes, something like that.
So that makes you my very own slut bitch who comes over because she likes slumming it.
Wherever did you get that?
A friend from water polo. A client, too, but he started out as a friend. He studies the turn of the century.
The what? The turn of the century?
At each turn of the century, as now, many things are in flux. But for him, it's the end of the last century that's of prime interest.
An historian, then.
Yes, but a special one. He reads plays. Nothing but plays, and through them he tries to understand how people used to live.
Fascinating. And you say he's a good client as well?
Yes, he wants me to do a garden for him. Part of one. No earth, nothing that actually grows, and it has to be tiny to boot.
What a weird idea. Did you go and see him?
Yes, this morning. His place is packed with books. Being in the city depresses him, he said, but he can't leave it.
Why?
The woman he's with doesn't want to.
He's married.
No, but his girlfriend takes up a large part of his life. I noticed that he says girlfriend and not partner. Just like me, in fact.
Do you also think I take up a large part of your life?
No, but...
Oh, so I don't take up any room at all.
Now stop talking nonsense, will you? I only said that when I mention you, I also tend to say girlfriend and not partner. By the way, he thought your name was really cool.
Oh, you must have really bonded to be telling him about me. What else did he say about my name?
He thought it was ecological. Seeing his apartment, if you can call it an apartment, I could understand better why you like joining me out here. A place like that, I swear you could never stand it. And as for the tanning, it's safe to say that if I do make this garden for him, his girlfriend will feel like she's on display in a shop window.
I wouldn't mind that.
I don't think so. And from what I saw, that's not the kind of girlfriend he has either.
But you saw the photo?
That's another way I have to say that she resembles you. The way she clearly hated being photographed. Yeah, but I can't imagine where he put in photos since his books take every inch of space. I saw just one flower, a single solitary bloom. You couldn't miss it.
Why?
It was a magnolia. It's crazy how one magnolia can look just like the other. It was a spitting image of the one you took to your grandmother.
Didn't you ask him where it came from?
No. Should I have?
Certainly not. It's not the kind of thing you ask. It's indiscreet. Show some respect for a person's private life, for crying out loud. Of course, you compared girlfriends. That's to be expected. But comparing magnolias? Shocking!
I'll ask him the next time if you want me to.
Oh, your next polo match?
No, when he comes here, see my plans. He was really curious to see where I live.
When's he coming?
Do you want to meet him? I'd really like you to get to know him. He's coming the day after tomorrow to pick me up before the match and then bring me back afterwards.
The day after tomorrow? Impossible. I have a seminar.
Oh, that's strange.
What's strange? Me saying that?
Nothing. It's just that it's never happened before.
What?
You giving me a reason for your absence.
Well then, this is a red letter day. We should make a wish.
What I wish for is...
Don't say it out loud. It'd be bad luck.
And thank you to Moshe Yassor for directing that beautifully. And now, last but not least, we have a play by Pascal Vrebos, who is joining us today. Pascal is a very distinguished playwright, really. He has had many, many plays done at all the most important theaters in Brussels and has also been performed in Paris as well. This is not his American debut either, but this is the debut, I think, of this play. This is Not a Pipe. And it's a very scandalous play, I think. C'est une pièce très scandaleuse, je dis. Honte sur toi. And it's about, it's no secret, it's based on the episode with Dominique Strauss-Kahn. You'll remember the big economic guru from France who got discovered in a hotel room in New York or exposed for having imposed himself sexually on a cleaning lady. And this play is really very transparently about that subject. And Pascal has conceived it in such a way so we see that moment in Strauss-Kahn's life. Here he's called Jean-Jacques Hamilton. In France he's called DSK, and here he's called JJH. He's a JJH. That's his name, JJH. But Pascal has conceived it as we see the scene over and over and over, maybe 8 times, and each time it's different. It happens differently. Because we'll never really know, I guess, what happened in that hotel room. So he's hypothesizing, well, it could have been that, it could have been that, it could have been that. And in the meanwhile, interspersed are speeches of Hamilton justifying himself, and also other people either praising him or excusing him or condemning him, lawyers and journalists and spies and all kinds of interesting types. And we've given you a little cross-section. I thought it would be wrong to give you just one version of what happens in the hotel room, so we have 2. But know that there are many more possibilities. And with that, acteurs. We're in a hotel room. This is the first scene. Several doors, including one to the bathroom, and to 2 other adjoining rooms. A sofa, a table piled high with stuff, and on the ground an open suitcase. In a symbolic separate area, as if he was commenting on the action, is Jimmy Rockmaster, Mariama's lawyer. So the lawyer for the cleaning lady. JJH and Mariama freeze whenever he speaks. Mariama enters the room, the hotel room, and starts to tidy up as JJH, naked, a towel in hand, suddenly appears before her.
There's the monster, wearing a facial expression of a man who is used to possessing, the stance of power. The great white tycoon who has it all, face to face with an exotic foreigner who has nothing. Note the conqueror's body as it instantly starts to drool over its booby. A real high-class rape. A classic, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, grounded in the most ordinary type of racism and sexism.
Oh, excuse me, sir. I thought you'd gone up.
I'm really and truly here, and as you can see, in tip-top shape.
No, Mr. Hamilton, you lie. You've never been so elegant. You never are. Wherever you plant your feet, you are known for savage acts against women, for treating them as though they were merchandise, with an impunity of which you're actually proud. First, you get away with murder, and then you brag about it.
Oh, excuse me, sir. I thought you'd gone up.
I'm here. I'm sure you consider my dick divine, and it is about to fuck you, my beauty.
She turns around and starts to leave when JJH grabs her by the shoulders and waist.
I wouldn't want you to have wasted your time in coming here.
He fondles her breast and tries to tear off her bra as he drags her into the bathroom.
This is what you came for, you slut. You knew I was here all along.
No, you're hurting me. I want to go.
Oh, you're a good actress. Your breasts are sizzling hot.
She runs out of the bathroom and toward the door, but he catches up to her and locks the door.
Fun for you, fun for me. It's a fair deal. Thong or panties? I bet neither. A first class hussy.
I beg of you.
She drops to her knees, virtually imploring.
I beg of you. Oh, I like that. You know what it takes to get the fish to bite. Quick, now spread your legs. Let's get it over with. You know who I am, don't you? You know who I am. I've had thousands of them, and plenty more choosy than you. Yeah, I don't have time to explain the concept, but you'll get the chance to test it out. With my testosterone.
He doesn't succeed in making her lay down or penetrating her.
Fine, I'll settle for your mouth, but then no orgasm for you. Now come on, get a move on. I'm late for breakfast.
She huddles on the ground.
No.
You're doing that just to get me hot.
There was nothing I could do. He threatened me. I was afraid I was going to die. I kept thinking about my daughter.
He pulls her up against him.
Shut up, you're spoiling my concentration.
It was pure aggression on your part with your smutty, humiliating language, with Mariama paralyzed. Mariama stung to immobility like some animal preparing for its immolation. You crushed her head against her head against your penis with a brutal, violent, pumping motion. In a gross, disgusting, barbaric fashion, sleazy rich guys sullying the innocent party put up for ransom by the dominant system.
Did you at least get a taste of how momentous that experience was?
He puts his clothes back on.
How much do you make a month? 25? 30?
She hurt all over. Broken, brutalized. You promised her $1,000 to keep her mouth shut, for you sensed, as you got dressed, that she'd been pushed too far and she might spill the beans.
Pure character assassination with your piddling lawyer's verbal tricks. I never paid a woman in my life. I didn't promise her a thing, and the only thing I gave her was a delicious, impromptu, erotic experience.
In the face of such villainy, of such lies, of such contempt for the law, before so many incontrovertible proofs of squalor, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I ask you for the verdict of guilty for rape and abduction by force. Let this wretched creature finish out his days in prison. Prevent him from ever again backsliding. Think of your own daughter or your wife, who might one day be his next victims.
My tie. Where did I stick my tie? Did you take it as a trophy? Come on now, give it back. It's a present from my daughter. It's an Armani. Ah, if you like. You can have a pair of socks as a souvenir and pack my suitcase. Come on now, get a move on. You made me late.
Next scene. JJH alone. Furious, pacing the stage, intermittently staring at his imaginary interlocutor, at times falling into the cliché walk of someone under criminal suspicion.
Do you hold it against me that I was exhibited before all the world, handcuffed like a little nobody, guilty by justice fiction, but guilty of what? A poor, petty, precipitate, non-erotically correct, prejudiced blowjob, one non-jurisprudentially adequate, one presumably unreciprocal, a world-renowned blowjob, an act of fellatio gone over with a fine-tooth comb by the population of all nations. That is where we now stand. The world is heading for total collapse. Financiers are diddling with the neutron bomb. We're rapidly approaching the sixth extinction of the species, and behold, the entire planet accuses the insatiable satyr of the crime at my age, mind you, of having orgasm without permission.
He sends a text.
If you compare me to the rest of the history of sexuality, I am practically a saint. And you know it too, Doctor. You, who've made a study of the full gamut of human experimentation, who am I compared to Tiberius, who had himself sucked off by newborn babies, the fellator verpe, as they called him, Tiberius, guilty as charged in all those men and women in ancient times combined to form endless chains with animals, the chug of orgasm, guilty as charged. And at Pompeii, where there were more bordellos than there were bake shops, there too they treated themselves to it, and how guilty as charged. And how about the saying of Theodora, mistress of Justinian, I employ the three orifices of my body, she sang. But why, oh why, didn't they see fit to poke holes in my breasts as well? Guilty, into the hole, into the cell, death to her.
He moves a chess piece.
If my wife, who, by the way, is no doormat, but one half of a couple, has forgiven me for this massacre they've made out of a molehill, then why, oh why, can't the rest of the planet? I am a victim of my own libido. Clinton got off lighter for his Monica than I did for my Mariama.
Next scene. Here we have Borderline, a sort of high-strung special agent who wishes to remain anonymous, who is discovered in the separate area. He is watching Mariama, who is methodically foraging through JJH's stuff. She picks out a date book that she hides beneath her skirt.
A real pro. The way she ferrets through stuff. Top-notch training. Can't help but admire her classiness. I know my job through and through. I bust my ass on all the trickiest cases. I'm always on the edge. And that's why I'm known as Borderline.
Mariama is now going through the suitcase when JJH suddenly bursts out of the bathroom wearing his dressing gown.
What are you doing here?
Oh, I'm straightening up your room, sir. Excuse me. They told me you left.
I am leaving. I am about to check out of this hotel.
I'll be going.
She turns around, bends over, and picks up a pair of socks.
You're not wearing any underwear.
A real pro, like I told you. In case of unexpected glitch in this sort of caper, a sex gambit always comes in handy. Power is an invitation to sex. And everyone's got this bird's number. A crack-brained chump, no doubt about it. He was bound to be put on by his misery sooner or later. This operation will have to be paired up with another. Kind of sensitive documents or sex team jobbing. Whole thing's captured on video. Reminds me of the Clinton caper. I bet at the end of the day, they'll find nothing but pigeon semen on her skirt. All of a sudden, she's got company. 2 agents in the hallway and 2 in the room next door. Every eventuality has already been taken into account. And it's all being monitored in real time at the very highest levels.
I never wear any.
Just like in porn films.
I've acted in those just to top off my monthly salary. I like doing it. And you?
I love life.
You saw the whole thing right before your very eyes. She segues right into the sex gambit, all the while looking for the guy's cell phone. And in her right shoe, there's a little white weapon. If things go south, she won't hesitate to use it. She'll bleed him dry. I've had a look at these notes. Shooting all the broads on sight isn't enough for this guy. He's so full of himself. He's oblivious to the most obvious thing. He even tried to take on a white-collar crime and change the monetary standard of the dollar.
I love life. So, I like the pleasures of the senses.
He caresses her breast.
In all places and in all positions.
For my sins, take me doggy style if you feel like it. Or the missionary position right here on the carpet. Or the union of the octopus. That's my signature Karma Sutra specialty.
You epitomize the expert chambermaid beautifully. Oh, that octopus sure sounds tempting. Never heard of it before. Last month, I spent a lot of time practicing the galloping Andromache.
Oh, I know that one too. Let's give Andromache a shot.
Don't have time for it right now.
Caressing him.
Get a move on. Gallop.
I really have to go, but you're lovely now.
There. Operation's almost in the bag. She's located the cell phone. Once the hasty treat's over and done with, she'll grab it. Clean job. Didn't have to wade too deep into the slime pit. This guy's goose is cooked.
And that is that.
Cooked to a turn.
Sorry. Cooked to a turn. That is Sean Beck, Tramika Small, Mike Metzel, Colin Frober, Carrie Evans, Mary Tierney, Desara Joni, and Victoria Libertor. And now it's up to Frank.
So we'll just move over to the panel. And we ask Serge and Pascal to join us. So, first of all, congratulations on getting the book done, David. And I think just from the small excerpts we could hear or experience tonight, one I think can detect like a little seismograph of things that are really going on. So before we come to the writers, but tell us a little bit more about why you chose these plays, why you thought they should be after 2000, and what you detected, what surprised you.
Well, you know, a play when it's on the page is very different from a play performed, but it seemed to me that every single one had a lot of life, and every single one I thought would be interesting for an American audience. That is, there are many plays in Belgium and all over Europe that are fascinating, but really not for import, because either it's all about the language itself, which is very hard to translate, even though these playwrights do very interesting work with language, or because it's just too local, or some other reason. So I thought that, for example, the PM play was interesting because we're all interested in the rise of the far right, and it concerns us all, and I think it feels remote to us, and I think it shouldn't be so remote because who knows where it's going to lead. I found this play that Serge wrote to be extraordinarily interesting. I mean, you saw it, right? It's an incredible relationship. It's an incredible paradox. We think that Africans are the ones who put spells on people, but here's the Europeans putting the spell on the African. So I think dramatically that's very rich. And I thought that Pascal's play, This Is Not a Real Pipe, about Dominique Strauss-Kahn, is just hilarious, but also I loved the way he wouldn't let us settle for any easy answers in reality. And then Magnolia's just, comic relief.
Well, though it is a whole spectrum, political questions, it's about the colonial past and the Congo, I assume, and also a love story. But a question to the playwrights: do you feel that you are European voices, global voices, or are you Belgium voices?
Shall I answer? Well, I think that when you write a play, it becomes interesting when you start from a local point of view, well, from reality, but you put something universal in it, of course. If not, it interests the people that know about that story, that are familiar to that culture. But elsewhere, not talking about New York, elsewhere, it won't interest. It won't interest. So I think that I start from reality, from Belgian reality, but I put something, well, let's say universal, something that could interest other people. By saying that, I think also that, well, I remember that it started with the reality, because I was touched by something happening to some couples I knew and that I didn't understand. I felt hypocrisy. I felt that something was going wrong. And I saw also that there were no true, genuine answers to that could explain why it went so wrong. And so I felt hypocrisy. And then I read something by an author that you know, Claude Lévi-Strauss, the famous anthropologist. And he explained that there are cases where an outcast of whatever group, of a community, and someone, once it's outcast, can really feel physically the pain. And then at the end, even, that's what he says, even he can die. So I was impressed by that, and putting everything together, I said, okay, we have some cases that I know that you probably would know also of. I have this intellectual look at things or an outcast can feel, And I have Africa and Belgium. So Africa, like witches and witchcraft and so on, and putting everything together, I said that I could try to find an explanation and show it and propose it to the audience. That's so how it became, how something very local can become, something less local.
Thank you.
Yes, excuse me, my English is completely rusty, and I will speak in French. In his own language, it's very difficult to speak about the world, things, then in English, and Camille will translate. It is a big question, your question. I remember words of Henry Miller. Henry Miller, je l'ai rencontré il y a très longtemps. J'ai passé une semaine avec Henry Miller. Et je me souviens d'une phrase qui m'a marqué. Plus je suis moi-même, plus je suis universel.
He met Henry Miller, and he has a quote that I love about it, is that the more I am myself, the more I am universal.
Et je pense que mon théâtre, c'est ça, ça part de quelque chose de vécu, toujours, en général au mois de mai. L'inspiration vient au mois de mai. C'est sans doute que mes antennes sont fort ouvertes. Et puis alors, il faut aller dans l'universel. Voilà, mais je crois que moi je suis très belge comme auteur, parce que d'abord j'aime beaucoup toute la tradition belge du surréalisme, de l'exagération, de la violence verbale. Mais je pense qu'il faut les deux.
So he always inspires his theater from his lived life. He also says that he'll also get inspired in May. He doesn't know why, but it's always happening in May, to something universal. But he must admit that it's the verbal violence of Belgium.
Et je vais donner deux exemples.
Wonderful. Well, these are interesting. Very often, I think we think it wrongly. We think it's global or it is local, but actually, a hybrid form emerges. Something very special, that you have something locally, but you connect it to some universal themes. But what comes out is almost like a flower that only grows in a special environment. So there's something as a hybrid and interesting form. Would you think of yourself as European writers also? I know in Polish writers often say, I'm not Polish, I'm not Slav. Or they say, we are Europeans. We don't want to be connected to we are. Do you struggle with this? Are you open with this? Or is that...
Tu luttes avec cette idée ou tu es ouvert à l'idée d'être européen?
Oh, je suis européen.
Yes,
Completely européen. Oui. Enfin, je ne sais pas, c'est la même chose sans doute pour... Quoi?
Yes, I am too.
Pour Serge, lorsqu'on est en Italie, lorsqu'on est en Grèce, où nous vivons 2 mois par an, en France, en Hollande, bien sûr, on est européen. Oui. Of course.
He's saying that everywhere you go, like in Italy, in Greece, when he spends 2 months per year, like every time you go somewhere else, you're European, you feel European.
Mais on n'est pas assez européen comme vous êtes américain.
But I wonder if Belgians feel... I wonder if Belgians feel more European than, say, a French person or a German or because I feel like those people feel French. I'm German, and a Belgian may say, I'm European. No?
Well, let's say, what is Belgium? What is it to be Belgium? You will meet, being in Belgium, you will meet people saying, what is Belgium? I don't think that Belgium ever existed. It's just come out of the Napoleonic Wars, and then so you have no real culture, you have no real state, and now it's what we know is that Belgium is going to split. So being Belgium, you have the choice between 3 things maybe, or believe what I've just said. So there's no Belgium. So feeling of emptiness. And that's what, it's not, ceci n'est pas une pipe. So Marguerite is linked with that, is connected to this way of feeling Belgium. And many Belgians feel about like that, something like It's just surrealistic. You don't know where you come from. Or you can have, let's say, the Flemish, not the Flemish, I'm not against the Flemish, but it's very well developed now in Flanders. The national way of thinking, saying that, like many people, you have a soil, so you believe that this soil belongs to you. That's all. So Flemish people will feel Flemish and not European, not Belgian, they will feel Flemish, and that's all. That's the second. And the third way is to feel, like something like a mixture of culture. Belgium is at the crossroad of many cultures, economically, but culturally too. So we have to see the richness of being influenced and made of different cultures, different people. So it's a way of really feeling European. That's my answer.
À Bruxelles, on dit que nous sommes des Ineke. Alors ça, pour traduire... oui, alors elle est française, donc c'est compliqué. She's French. Non, alors Zineke, David, là il tombe, là il est compliqué. Oui.
Ça c'est bruxellois, non?
C'est bruxellois.
Bah, je parle flamand, je parle français, mais pas bruxellois.
Well, imagine you have two dogs, and they're not from the same race.
Oh, mutts.
So
mutts. In Brussels we say mutts.
No, it's not finished. So you have you have two dogs, and so one female, one male, and they have a baby. But and that baby will be not without you won't be pleased with it because you won't have any pedigree. So what you do with it? You throw it to the Seine. Seine is the river that comes that crosses.
It's not
Belgium.
the same Seine that's in Paris. It's spelled differently. Senne. It's actually a dirty gutter, is what it is.
So Zinneke, it's a dog made of two races that you will throw to the Seine. Zinneke.
Ouais. Et en fait,
Which is very polluted.
L'auteur dramatique, il est le résultat au moins de 5 ou 6 chiens différents.
Wow.
So he thinks that the author, like the playwright, is the result of 6 different races of dog. Or dogs.
Because la Belgique est en train de s'évaporer. Donc peut-être que dans 30 ans, s'il y a la même séance ici, on parlera d'autre chose. Mais il n'y aura sans doute plus la Belgique. Donc, on est dans une absence de pays, une culture française, une multiculturalité à Bruxelles, ouvert sur le monde et l'Europe, et voilà.
So thinking that Belgium is quite disappearing right now. In like 30 years old, if we do something like this here, we'll talk about something totally different, and maybe Belgium won't exist anymore. Because it's a French culture, but also Brussels is really multicultural, open to Europe and to the world.
Thank you. Before we now come to your question, maybe a last question to the playwrights. Who are your inspirations? What are playwrights you admire, who inspire you?
Des inspirations.
Who do you feel connected to?
Tu te sens lié.
Well, I like...
Hanneke.
No, Hanneke, it's not a playwright. Well, I like, in Belgium, we like, naturally, I would say, we like playwrights and literature in general that highlight grotesque, things that a way of seeing things where you don't know if you're gonna laugh or you're gonna cry. So it's a way to show revolt and also to put some entertainment. So some authors I really appreciate, and maybe if influenced me, would be people like Gelderode, would be people like John Matt, would be maybe was maybe Shakespeare, of course, you have Shakespeare, you don't know all the time, you don't know if you're gonna cry or if you're gonna laugh, it's both. So, some German theater at a certain time also, like Horvath, for instance, he plays in this way too, I would say.
My mother worked in the Palais des Beaux-Arts, and when I was 5, 6, 7 years, j'ai vu tous les Molières. Donc, influence de Molière, toutes les pièces de Molière étaient jouées au Palais des Beaux-Arts. Paul Willems, aussi auteur belge. Et puis plus tard, le théâtre de l'absurde, et notamment Ionesco, car j'ai fait un mémoire sur son théâtre, un mémoire sémiotique, et en plus je l'ai rencontré. Donc des souvenirs.
So we went to Palais des Beaux-Arts where he saw all the pieces by Molière, so he's really inspired by him, but he also loves Paul Willems.
Oui, Paul Willems qui était le directeur du Palais des Beaux-Arts et pour moi grand auteur dramatique.
Who was the director of Palais des Beaux-Arts, and he thinks he's really an important and powerful playwright. He's also a lot inspired by absurd theater like Ionesco, because he did work, like a kind of thesis about it.
Sémiotique, les chaises, analyse sémiotique des chaises.
La pièce des chaises.
Les chaises, oui, les chaises.
Yes.
He did a semiotic study, his thesis, on Ionesco's famous play, The Chairs. Yeah.
Et j'ai eu l'occasion to see Ionesco sometimes au boulevard Montparnasse. Alors je dis souvenir, car c'était un numéro.
He's saying memories because it was a long time ago. No?
Oui, j'avais 25 ans, oui. Non, c'était un numéro. C'était un spécial. Avec Ionesco, on ne s'ennuyait jamais.
It was something really special, like you were not bored at all watching it.
Et on buvait beaucoup.
Well, he saw Ionesco walking on the boulevard Montparnasse at that time, and he also drank a lot. And he was quite a character.
Not in the house.
Only in the bar.
Only in the bar. Because the wife looking, but mauvais résultat.
Thank you so much. So maybe we have 2 or 3 questions from the audience, if in case there is something that comes to your mind as a statement or a question. We want to, and maybe but maybe Jean-Claude, maybe afterwards if something you want to comes to. But let's start with Mario.
I know many.
We are recording it, so please do the microphone there.
I know many European playwrights. They're very eager to have an English version of their play. And they make a huge mistake. They pay a professor, a teacher, a local teacher, German or Italian, to translate into English. It's a huge mistake. Absolutely. I think that Serge and Pascal are very wise in working with David, because David has a perfect English dialogue. And the place may have a future because of that. A small episode about Ionesco. Small, very, very short. He came to my house. He asked for a drink. The wife said no, immediately. And then he said, please, can I have a strawberry ice cream? And so I bought an ice cream downstairs. Thank you.
Yeah.
Just to hook up with the question of translation, it is especially translation for the stage rather than for the page is you have to have an ear. And I think to translate something into another language, it's the ear of the new language that has to be very attuned. A question also about Europe. It is interesting that there's a kind of a duality of feeling. You feel regional. I come from Germany and I come from Bavaria. And I'm post-World War II, so my feelings were Europe first, Bavaria second, and then at a long distance, German. And so there's now, I find, a very interesting phenomenon also among the writers, that there is the aspect of the regional closed cultures vis-a-vis European feelings. And a young German woman, playwright comes to mind, Kerstin Specht, who wrote a play also about a foreigner, in this case, a woman from the Philippines who was married to a Bavarian man and landed in a small village in Franconia near the eastern border. And very similar situations happened. She was literally made sick and eventually was actually killed by the village. It's the big issue now, how to, and so I think the topics that you're touching are core.
Thank you. Maybe building on the question of translation, what were you struggling? Tell us, were there something that was really complex or complicated? What was the most complicated thing for you?
Well, Serge's play is deceptively simple. It's really not simple at all to translate that language. But one problem was that he had some lines in English, because the character Mariam is also learning English. And that was impossible to translate, that duality between French, English, and then the African language he was speaking. So that went out the window, and I felt bad that such an essential part of his play is lost entirely in the translation. For Pascal, there's so many word plays that I wanted to do it, and it was really a lot of fun. And it's always a little fun to have something you can translate without translating it, because in French the word is permission, and here was permission. So that was easy. And then Jacques de Decker's play, it looks like, to me at first, that's easy. There's nothing to do. And yet I had about 20,000 versions of it before I was through, just to make it really, really, really speakable English, like someone might speak today, here. And you think you've gone the whole way from the one language to the other, and then you think, no one would say it that way. It's still translated English. And then, that's why it takes so long, and put it away and come back to it and say, how could I have done that? It really has to be another stage, and it never ended. And I'm sure there's still things that sound a little, clunky to me, more translated. And I think that a lot of plays, Ibsen, for example, is so poorly translated into English. It's like a whole separate series of conventions that we accept. And I don't know why we accept them, because he's known to have written, I don't know Norwegian, but he's known to have written really contemporary, speakable Norwegian. But every time we hear it in English, it's terrible. It's not the English we speak. So that's the challenge.
Thank you. Before we close, maybe any last thoughts or words or something you...
I wanted to echo the last comment you made, and I think it's... you said something really important. The problem is the quest of identity, or the doubt of identity in Europe. Because I wanted to say that, the model should be United States insofar. United States is so original because its ideology integrates the foreigner that is supposed to come. So it's supposed to adapt itself to a model where he belongs, he's supposed to belong. And that's quite original in on all the planet. I kind of think of one country that's so welcoming in a way. And at the same time, in Europe, we're still used to be linked to the soil and to history, where people think that they own the land, and so a defense against other culture, against its foreign people. So that's why I admire the United States, and I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Peut-être peut-être une réflexion philosophique pour terminer. On a parlé de Belgique, d'Europe. Je crois que les auteurs dramatiques ont beaucoup de boulot.
Just a final philosophical reflection. You think that playwrights have a big job to do?
Parce que théoriquement, que fait l'auteur dramatique? Il tente de décoder l'envers du décor du monde. Comprenez pourquoi je parle pas anglais.
It's because the playwright tries to decode what's behind the backstage of the world.
Et en même temps, il plonge dans le dedans de tout individu.
And at the same time, he's diving into the inside of every person.
Or, ce n'est pas un secret, notre monde va mal.
But it's not a secret, our world is sick.
Il va peut-être aller mieux, ou il va peut-être disparaître.
Maybe it's gonna get better, or maybe it's just gonna disappear.
Puisque, historiquement parlant, l'espèce humaine a inventé de quoi se détruire.
Because historically, the human being invented everything to destroy themselves.
Et on est bien parti.
And we are really on a good track to do so.
Donc, l'auteur dramatique, il peut à la fois faire peur et donner des messages d'espoir, puisque dans le mot Apocalypse, il y a à la fois la destruction et la renaissance. Et là, je pense que c'est universel. C'est pas américain, c'est pas belge, c'est pas européen.
And the playwright has a role where he can both make you fear something and give you hope. And he's noticing that in Apocalypse, it both means destruction and rebirth. So there's a bit of both.
Well, I think this is a wonderful little dot at the end of that evening with that philosophical idea. And David, yeah.
I would just like to express a little word of gratitude to the actors, to the directors, Jen Tuttle and Moshe Yasser, and to you for coming. And I'd especially like to thank Frank Hentschker for bringing out the book, because that took a leap of faith.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Let's have a little reception, and thank you for staying with us so very, very late, and hope you will come back to our events. Thank you.
Thank you for staying so late.